Alright guys, today we're going to talk about 10 actors I think can become the next James Bond. But after No Time to Die, we saw Daniel Craig's last exit from the James Bond role. So who will take up the mantle for the next James Bond? When it comes to a character like James Bond, there's certain qualifications I think that we can all think about for the actor to play that role. They have to be fit enough to play the actual role. They have to be able to do all the stunts that Daniel Craig did in his last movie. Unless they want to go a completely different direction, but I think you still need somebody to be able to be comfortable in those action sequences as an actor. Someone will have to be the charisma. There has to be a certain type of charisma and smoothness that comes to playing this character. Not every character, not every actor can pull this off, but the 10 that I have, I think a lot of them really can pull this off. And I've shown that they've worked with action sequences and maybe even tougher action sequences than Daniel Craig. At number 10, I have an actor that may not be on a lot of people's radars to become this character, but I have John Boyega. Only known as Poe from the Star Wars series, John Boyega is now considered, I think, a mid to high level known actor now in today's industry. So I think John Boyega has the status symbol enough to push the character of James Bond to the next level. It definitely has the charisma enough to pull off this character. I think he's usually in those roles. He has kind of a humor to him. He has a really good sense of being almost, even though he's usually played as the side character, I think he definitely has the potential to lead a series like Bond. Boyega is also a great actor, as seen on working with Detroit. He was really good in that movie. He showed his acting prowess even more. I think he can pull off the drama elements as well in the Bond movie. The only thing I'd be worried about is like more of the hand-to-hand combat sequences, as we haven't really seen that much from him when it comes to that aspect. Number 9, I have an actor that already has been cast in a superhero movie type role, even though we've seen him in the past kind of be a superhero as well, and that is Aaron Taylor Johnson, who is also British, and he's played a lot of American roles, but he also is very much from England. Roles that I think that showcase the action sequences really well is Kick-Ass. Aaron Taylor Johnson is also very fit compared to these other actors I have on this list. He's probably one of the more fit, I would say. So I think he could definitely put off the action sequences. One thing that I would be worried about is Aaron Taylor Johnson hasn't really played that much of a super charismatic character outside maybe of Kick-Ass. His other roles have been usually darker characters. In Nocturnal Animals, he played really well into that. And I think I still think he's a really great actor, but to pull off kind of the charismatic and the certain type of smoothness that needs to be done for a James Bond type character is the only worry for me. For the character of James Bond, there also has to be the element of that he has to be from England. You may not know this, but Bond is very much a British franchise, I would say. So that element has to be put into place when it comes to these actors. So all of the actors I pick are from British descent. At number 8, I have the actor Charlie Hunnam. A lot of you might have known him from playing the main lead role in the show Sons of Anarchy. But I think a movie specifically that showcases how smooth and how charismatic he really is in kind of his role with Guy Ritchie's movie The Gentleman. For Charlie Hunnam, he also has worked on movies that have a lot of action sequences already. I saw The Gentleman is more kind of gun usage with Sons of Anarchy, and he also worked on King Arthur with another movie with Guy Ritchie. So I think he can pull off certain action sequences, especially with the gun, which is something James Bond uses a lot in his films. Charlie Hunnam can both pull off the charismatic side and the action sequences pretty well. It's just really the hand-to-hand combat that we really haven't seen from Charlie Hunnam. But outside of that, I think he's very fit to play this role. 7, I have actor Tom Hiddleston. A lot of you know him as Loki in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But Tom Hiddleston, I think, would be a really great choice as Bond, because the character Loki himself has a certain type of mischievousness and also a certain charisma that is smooth. Him playing Loki shows how good he is with his words, and that's something that Bond consistently does throughout all the movies. I think he's definitely one of the top when it comes to the charismatic characters that he plays, and Tom Hiddleston is already a great actor. The only downside I would have is how physically fit he looks. He's kind of more on the skinnier side. I don't know if he'd be able to do all the hand-to-hand combat action sequences and be believable in that role when it comes to James Bond. Number 6, I also have another very well-known actor, mainly because of his role as Jon Snow, and that is Kit Harington. I think Kit Harington would be a great pick as James Bond because I think he would be really well with the action sequences given the more swordplay. But I think he best shines with being kind of that really good leader and main character that he's used to playing. He's used to playing kind of the bigger roles, and I think something like Bond would fit for him very well. Only downside I think is maybe the humor aspect. I don't know if he has that much when it comes to the humor side that James Bond from time to time brings in. But he's a very good actor, and I think he could definitely pull this off. And he's a big enough actor, I think, to definitely draw audiences' eyes to watch this movie. At number 5, I have another Game of Thrones actor, and actually the brother before his tragedy in Game of Thrones, and that is Richard Madden. We already saw him as a superhero in Eternals now. James Bond, I think he'll be really great as having that charismatic side he had in the beginning seasons of Game of Thrones. And I know he'll definitely bring this more serious side of Bond as well. His capability physically, and I think he has the look to be the next James Bond. He's not too old, he's not too young, he kind of is right in that middle of age range. Similar to Kit Harington. I'm not sure if they're really good when it comes to the hand-to-hand combat in certain movies and certain scenes when it comes to that for the role of James Bond, but besides that, I think they're really great actors. I think they're definitely in the contention for the spot for James Bond. Number 4, I have Daniel Kaluuya. I'm pretty sure you guys know him as he's been most famous for his role in Get Out, which he plays obviously an American character, but if you guys don't know, he is also British. So I think he would be a great choice as James Bond because I think he already has the really clean look for it. I think he's physically fit for it as well. I think the age range, he's probably a little bit on the younger side, but I think he fits for the next James Bond. He's already proven himself to be a really great actor when it comes to kind of the serious roles as well as playing and Get Out, all the serious moments in that. And in a lot of movies that are bigger and well known, such as Black Panther as well. I think Daniel would be a really good move if they wanted to go with him since he's in that middle age range, which is perfect for James Bond. At number 3, I have an actor who's already really well known, and that is Tom Hardy. We've seen Tom Hardy already in a lot of action movies, especially in a movie like Mad Max, which he shows he can do like the bigger stunts and the bigger action sequences, since that's probably one of the best movies of action in the past decade. He shows he can prove himself as an action hero, and he shows that also as being part of Venom and being part of these other bigger name blockbusters. Along with his humor and being in movies like Inception and other films, he's already proven himself to be one of the top contenders when it comes to his role as James Bond. And given his performances in The Revenant, he can do obviously the drama roles really well. So I think I have Tom Hardy at number 3 for these reasons. As we roll into the top 2 now, we also have now the bigger names alongside, as just said, Tom Hardy. Now at number 2 I have Idris Elba, because he can provide obviously the humor and a lot of roles he's already done, and he can bring in that action since he's just coming off a movie like The Suicide Squad. I think he can really do the action really well. He's usually on the older side. I don't know if they would have to do this movie in the next 3 to 4 years, so we'll see if he can do it in the long run, but for the next film, I can see Idris Elba fitting that role really well. Number 1, I now have Henry Cavill. I think Henry Cavill fits the role of James Bond really well, given that he's been in a lot of action movies as well, similar to the other actors on this list, but he's done also The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is kind of a spy movie type, so he already has some relationship when it comes to spy movies with Guy Ritchie's film. He's been in bigger roles. He's been Superman already. He's already done The Witcher, so he's been in already these big lead star roles. He has a big enough name to carry the franchise if he wanted to. But maybe that could be a hindrance if some people wouldn't want that big of a name as Henry Cavill coming to play that role. I think he has a size. He might be a little bit too big, but I think he has a size for it. I think he's right in that age range of not being too old and not being too young. Let me know your opinions on what you think of someone like Henry Cavill playing the next James Bond. So this was my top 10 of the 10 actors who could play the next James Bond. Let me know your opinions down below. Like, comment, and subscribe if you really enjoyed this video. Give me a list of your top 10 actors you would like to see play the next James Bond. Do you agree with my list? Do you not? Let me know what you guys think. and have a good one.